Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Kerbal Space Program POV series. This is a little bit of a cursed episode. I have lost two sets of footage for doing this so far. The first footage, and then I went to recreate the mission, and I lost that footage as well. It's been a little back and forth, so we don't have the very first milestones that we achieved with this. But in this episode, we are going to bring Kerbal to space. Using the science from the last episode, we went ahead and unlocked a couple things. We still have quite a bit of science right now, but we're about 18 units short of something that we want, so we're not going to spend it yet. We're going to just take a quick look here to show you that we unlocked the Mach 1 crew cabin, as well as some space exploration and better satellite or better solar panels. I think I mentioned in the last episode that I keep flopping those words solar and satellite. But yeah, so we have not just the Mach 1 crew cabin, but we also have some better life support as well, circular life support. So yeah, so let's go ahead and build our craft. We're just going to be going into orbit. Obviously, we can't land on the moon just yet because we haven't even sent probes there. But but we want to get Kerbal into space. It's been ages. We've had this agency open for so long, and we've just been stuck in the mission control room. We want to get our Kerbals out and stretch their legs. And by stretch their legs, I mean stuff them into a tiny capsule. Yeah, so we go ahead and make our science bay. The goal here is to land in the desert. We haven't been to the desert yet, so we want to collect some science. In the very first attempt of this, we took Max Hat Kerbin and brought her to the North Pole, and it was quite eventful. She actually lost some of the science on the way down due to overheating and lack of control, which is why we have that reaction wheel sitting there right in the center. But so very eventful, lost the footage, that sucks. Also, I haven't been backing up any of my saves, so I couldn't go back to a previous version of that save. So I was a little unhappy about that because we had, passed that milestone, but I wasn't able to show you. So then what I did was in an attempt to recreate the mission, I took Diplom Kerman, another one of our pilots, took him to the South Pole. That footage just didn't even come in at all. Like, it just, for some reason, it was in the wrong format or something. I don't know. But I wasn't able to import it into the editing software. So yeah, so both Kerbals, two of my three pilots have 1 star now, and they have ribbons from the Final Frontier mod. They've got ribbons for their orbits, as you can see, they're 1 star. And I'm trying to figure out who to take. I'm thinking about taking a scientist, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll take an engineer. But I realize that if I don't take a pilot, we're not going to be able to control it from the command pod. We do have a probe on it, so it can be controlled from the mission control room. We've been doing enough of those episodes. I wanted to get eyes in here. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and start off by getting the lights situated. I turned on Chatter. It's one of the mods that provides radio noise from the KSC. And just once again, we're using JSI's raster prop monitor mod to control these things, bring up information that we want. This right here is from ScanScat. I have successfully scanned the whole planet altimetry reading, so we're going to go ahead and bring that up. It doesn't end up being too helpful, but it is nice to have. We spent a lot of time and effort trying to get that satellite into place, so might as well put it to use, right? It will be a lot better once we have different command pods. I'm probably going to end up using the Alcor command pod during this series because it's got one of the best layouts of all the command pods I've seen. Yep, so we go ahead and do a nice little takeoff. Very simple. That NAN glitch is still there. Certain monitors will not show the information, but then switch them around. Like this one, now you can see the time to apoapsis and periapsis and all that. That was missing from the other screen. And then we're just doing a pretty standard gravity turn. I've been playing the Real Solar System and Realism Overhaul RP1 version of Kerbal for a little bit just on my own, and it is so much harder. So this was very it was a nice breath of relief, just being able to be like, all right, once I hit 100 meters per second, just angle myself east, and then we'll slowly make it there. All I need is 3700 delta V, and I can make it into orbit. That's not the case over there. I might end up making that into a series, but we'll see. I am still trying to learn everything, but I am absolutely loving it. For those who might not know, Realism Overhaul and RP1 and the RSS Real Solar System mods together make kind of like playing real world rocket history, because the Real Solar System uses obviously our solar system, Earth, Mars, Venus, I almost said Eve, but it uses all those planets, and it uses the appropriate size for the planets, so getting to orbit is a lot harder. It's not as easy as 3700 delta V. Alright, so we're just, lifting up, and our side boosters are empty, so we go ahead and stage them. And because we use the fuel ducts, our middle center rocket, our main stage, is full and ready to go. So I'm just watching the numbers, just getting myself ready. I want to get to about 100 kilometers for my apoapsis, just so I have a little extra room to play with, just in case we end up losing some altitude on our way back up, because we're not going to be burning the entire way to space. Yep, so now I'm getting close to 100 kilometers, and I'm also passing, I'm almost at 50 kilometers, so it's safe to start turning. I generally don't turn towards the horizon until about 42 kilometers up. I think anything below that, and you have too much drag, and you start slowing yourself down by going sideways. But I think after about 42 kilometers, you can safely turn sideways and not lose too much on your apoapsis. So yeah, so I'm just getting ready to plot my circularization burn. Or the circularization burn's plotted. I used MacJeb to just instantly plot it, but getting ready to execute it. Still got plenty of life support. We have no problem. I think we have like 34 days worth of life support here, and we're only going to be in the air for like one rotation of the planet. Yep. So alright, so I hit deploy. Now that we're in space, I got my solar panels out. That's what I was motioning towards. And I forgot to take the monoprop out of this. I could have saved some weight, shave some weight off the total mission. I did take some of the ablator off, which will shave some weight as well. But yeah, just always forget to take out the monopropellant. And we are ready to start burning. And we got plenty of delta V to circularize. We're actually going to have a little bit left over once we make the circularized burn. So you'll see what the plan I decide to do is not come to a full circularization burn with this engine. Just come just below the orbit line, 70,000 or yeah 70 kilometers, and then I'll stage the lower engine back into the planet, so it comes colliding down with Kerbal, and then I use my upper stage to just get myself back into orbit. And I only have about 100 meters per second of delta V in my upper stage, so it's not a lot. This is a little bit of a risky move. That's why I only bring it up to 1,000. Sorry, not 100 meters. 1,000 meters. Yeah, 100 meters per second is nothing. Yeah, so I just bring the rest of it to bring myself into orbit, and then I go ahead and just kind of see what else I want to do from here before I go. I check on my stats. Interesting to see that I had a little bit of panic there. And then so we're out in space, and I want to do an EVA walk, but I remember that I haven't upgraded my station, so my astronaut complex, so I can't do the EVA, which is good because Max Hat was the one who was slated to do our first EVA, and it was going to be in the next episode. Basically, what would be the next episode from this one? We were going to go and have her do a flyby of the Mun and do an EVA while there, but those plans got cut short when all the footage was deleted. So yeah, so I went ahead and plotted in the maneuver to bring us back down to the planet, aiming for the desert, of course. And I went and plotted it into the flight computer. We did manual burns the entire way up. Might as well allow ourselves a little bit of a rest and let the computer take over it for taking us home. Zooming in on the map, it takes forever to update, which is understandable because typically in ScanSet you don't really look at this map unless you bring it up yourself, and if you have it on one of the raster prop monitors, then it's just always being brought up, so it's going to take a little bit of time to think and realize. And then I realized I was flying by the planet. I wasn't even looking out. I wasn't looking outside at our beautiful blue and green orb. But yeah, I saw that there was some science to be done, and so I went ahead and pressed these Action Group 2, did the first set of science that we have. Yeah, so now it's just kind of looking around, checking to see if there's anything that I need to pay attention to before we go. Only have a little bit of time left in the burn. If there's anything that we need to do last minute, but I can't think of anything. I do have a checklist mod. Not really a checklist mod. It's a notebook mod where I can write in a checklist, and maybe I think for bigger, more complicated missions, I think I'm going to actually start doing that. Have a log to refer to, you know, so we can pay attention to each thing in each area, you know, for takeoff, for flight, for approach, and for landing. And there we go. The return burn doesn't need to be precise at all. The desert's a pretty large area, so I didn't have any concern of us overheating or anything. Or not overheating. I was looking at the temperature gauge right there. I don't have any fear of us overshooting. So I'm trying to flip it around, and then I keep forgetting that you need to turn SAS on, and in order to do that, sometimes you have to cancel out the kill rotation from flight computer. And I'm trying to turn myself radial out to separate the last stage. That little warning tells us that we're now on collision course back with the planet. And so I decided to wait a little bit before pressing the descent button. I'm not entirely sure why, because now I'm in the atmosphere while I press the descent button, and I'm not really paying attention to the fact that I'm still pointed radial out. So instead of having my heat shield pointed towards my retrograde, I'm sideways. And then I realized that right about now, or no, I fast forward a little bit. I see the heat rise, and I'm like paying attention. I'm like, oh, now I realize that I need to be pointing the right way. And as you see, the flames just started up right as I flipped. So, and I have to thank the reaction wheel for being able to control us that way. I think if I didn't have that, we would have just come in sideways, and there would have been nothing we could do about it. And that would have been sad. A huge, great, mission comes to disaster simply because I forgot to point retrograde again. It had been, like I said before, I was playing RP1 version of Kerbal on my own time, and so it's been a little bit coming back into this and trying to figure out where I'm at, especially since the last 2 or 3 times that I've recorded, I've had to redo certain things, and it's a little bit confusing trying to figure out where you're at. So, but I think we've got a handle on it now, and we should be good moving forward. And I had been recording multiple episodes at a time. I was quite far forward to where I was putting them out. So I had quite a lot of backlog, and some of those episodes got confused and mixed up and all that. Episodes 2 and 3 are actually out of order. I don't know if you noticed that. You can only tell because the orbit path of the satellites is present in episode 2 and missing in episode 3. What had happened was I had renamed them wrong. I had named them incorrectly, and didn't pay attention enough to the small details of it. The fact that, like, hey, there's some missing satellites, or you have satellites that hadn't been put up yet, So yeah, so the series so far has been a little bit hectic, but we're managing. And I think going forward, I'm not going to record as far into the future. Just in case if there are issues, I can fix them a little bit better. I'm still going very fast. I forgot to mention as we're going down what I was going to plan on saying is it's always very harrowing when you use auto-staged parachutes because you're not sure. Oh yeah, the fuel tank and engine collided with the earth very close, the Kerbal very close to us. That's what the explosion was. It took me by surprise. But yeah, so now I'm falling at a very decent -6 meters per second. But yeah, up until about 1,000 feet ago, I was going very fast and I was getting very nervous. And with that, we make touchdown, and our very first, Kerbal into space came back safely, landed in the desert, did some science, and we'll have plenty of stories to tell. We'll have ribbons to show, and Max Hat and Diplon will, just share knowing glances at each other and say good job. Well, with that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.